Oh, shoot. I think I'm live right now. Let's see if I can hear myself. I have 3 screens set up. I'm trying to get really fancy with this. Connecting my Bluetooth headphones. Let's see if I can hear this now. So I'm going to turn on the volume. And how's it sounding? All right. All right, all right. I'm going to go to this live event right now. There it is. Oh, crap. Oh, there's people here. Let's go. Show us your face. I will certainly do that. Here's my face. Here I am. Oh my God. All right. Whew, okay. All right, this is going to be distracting. I'm hearing myself on this delay and stuff. It's kind of freaking me out. All right, let's try this out. All right, I'm waiting up for everyone. We got about 2 minutes until this thing really starts. 6 watching right now. We just lost one. We had 7. Let's go for double digits maybe by the end of this. So I want everyone to go and click on the link in the bottom so that you can follow along. I'm also going to have it in one of my windows. I have it screen shared on my laptop, which is right here. I've also got my phone, which is right here, being balanced on some cups so that you can see the work I do to do some scratch work on some of these problems. Let's get that cup angle a little bit better there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm getting all the cringe out of the way early on. All right. Oh, and we had our first unforeseen issue here where I spilled coffee all over my desk. We're gonna have some technical difficulties for a moment. I will be right back. This is not what you want to see. Oh, shit. All right, off to a great start so far, really. So this is what happens when you don't eat your Subway in the morning, kids. Make sure to eat that Subway. Stay fresh. How do I do it? How is it? Is it like this? Yeah. All right, we're getting the phone set up again. Check this out. Did he just say, shh? No, I'm not telling you guys to be quiet. I said, shoot. All right. Let's see here. Whew. This is difficult to coordinate with all 3 of these screens. I'm not sure you guys realize that right now, but can you see this ISEE? Ooh, it's sideways. Let's see how this one looks. Switching to that screen. Ooh, that's not how we want it to look. Let's go landscape here. Success? Success, maybe? Maybe not. Hey, there we go. Okay. So everybody click on the link that we have in the description below. It says ISEE, upper level test. It is the official practice test provided by the ERB. Shouts out to the ERB, the Educational Something Bureau. And we're going to go through this entire test's math problems that we have. We have 2 sections, the quantitative reasoning and the mathematics achievement. Expecting it to take about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's not going to be boring. It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. I will be eating some of these dark chocolate ginger things that I don't really know what they are, but they're pretty good. Probably eat enough of them to feel sick afterwards. And I'll be looking at, censorship alerts. We got the censorship police coming in here. All right, this is what happens when you go live. You say things that you don't mean to say. I don't know what I've said so far. kind of just going with it right now. But without further ado, I want to do this practice test. I don't know about you guys. So go back on my computer, make sure this is the right window. Oh yeah, okay. So right now what we're going to do is switch to the practice test. Check that out. We have some sample questions here. We don't need to mess around with the sample questions. We're going for the real thing right now. You guys got the real test coming up tomorrow. It's Friday. Test day is Saturday, October 14th, 2017. Scrolling way down because we've got to go way down in this doc to find the actual juice, the meat of what we want to go and solve. So I'm scrolling down, test directions. Here we go. Verbal reasoning. We're going to skip that. Hopefully you can reason with your own verbs. And we go down to quantitative reasoning. Got an example. So quantitative comparisons. Here are the goods. Now, lots of people here have probably already seen this test. It is the first thing that you should do if you're studying for the ISEE. Go and take this. But, you know, it's never bad to review. So we're going to go ahead and go through this and just go problem by problem, explanations. I'm going to say hi to you guys. I see people saying hi. We're also going to take a quick little meme/video break at about the halfway point when we finish one of the sections. So if you guys have any good memes or videos that you'd like me to react to live and hopefully not blow it with some censorship issues, then go ahead and post those in the comments. Also, please post your questions. I'll be checking the live chat throughout. Greetings. And yeah, let's go ahead and get this bad boy going. Number 1. We've got some word problems here. So I'm going to go and look at number 1. It says, if n star equals 4n plus 3, what is the value of 8 star? Now I'm going to switch to my workspace here. We can see this beautiful workspace with some nice, had a little bit of a spill earlier, but that's all right. We're going to just throw that away. And so now what I'm going to do for number 1, I'm going to copy down the problem. We have that n star equals 4n plus 3. And so what I want to do is solve for the value of 8 star. And so you see I'm writing these on top of each other so that I can see the comparisons. In this top one, we have n star. In this bottom one, we have 8 star. Now, if we want to see the difference here, it's just that this n becomes an 8. So therefore, I just plug in 8 here. See, n became 8. And then I go plus 3. 4 times 8 is 32, plus 3 is 35. And we can see very clearly that that answer choice is A. All right, let's go to number 2. So number 2 says, oh my gosh, the comments are going off. Let's go. Uh-oh. I have a meme for me. A. Ooh, Abigail, you got to work on that, Abby. I'm not sure about that B, but J-Dog's got this one right. So number 2. Let's give it a shot. If x minus y equals 3, then which expression is equal to y? I'm going to switch back to the test so you can see it. X minus y equals 3. What is equal to y? Now, this is just some algebraic rearrangement here. Now, you could do some substitution, but I think it's much easier to just use your algebra skills, which I'm sure that you all have, and rearrange this to solve for this y. We want to isolate that y. So whether we isolate this y right here is we're going to get it all alone by subtracting x from both sides. So I'm going to subtract x. When I do that, I get that negative y equals 3 minus x. Now, we want to solve for y, not negative y. So the way that we get rid of this negative sign is to divide by negative 1. Flip the signs of every single term that we have in this problem. And then we're going to go y equals negative 3 plus x, or x minus 3. Now, you guys should be able to see that that is answer choice B. Number 2 is B. Number 3, we're getting some pace right here. Let's keep moving. So number 3, I'm going to go check the chat. How's the chat doing? Pretty sure it's B. All right, we got some smart kids up in here. Let's see it. Oh my gosh, says Patrick Newman. A. Ooh. Let's see if Patrick Newman can keep up with our class right now. So let's go to number 3. Number 3 says if the sum of all integers from 1 to 1,000 inclusive is x, then which expression, let me go and make sure you can see the same thing I'm seeing. I want to make sure that you guys can see this problem. Number 3, 1 to 1,000 is x. Which expression is the sum of 1 to 998 inclusive? Now, this is a lot of math to do manually. What we want to do is see some kind of pattern, look at the answer choices, and one of those choices is going to be the right answer. So let's go ahead and look at those. Now I see 2 numbers there. I see 1,999 and just 999. So I also see that some of them have a plus and some of them have a minus. So the first thing I want to think about is if the sum of, I'm going to switch to my face. You guys can look at my face while I'm talking through this. So if the sum of all the numbers from 1 to 1,000 is x, and we want to know the sum of all numbers from 1 to 998, is that going to be bigger than x or smaller than x? And you should see that it's going to be a little bit smaller than x because we're excluding a couple numbers from this list. 1 to 998 only includes everything from 1 to 1,000 except for 2 numbers. Now, if you know what those 2 numbers are, it should be obvious what the answer is. We're missing 1,000 and we're missing 999. So when we subtract those 2 numbers, we're going to get A, x minus 1,999. So let's flip to my work here. Didn't really write much down for that, but 1 to 998 is going to look like 1, 2, 3, going all the way to 998, 999, and then 1,000. And we add all those up and we get x. But then when we look at, let's make sure you can see all this work. When we look at this new set, we have 1, 2, 3, but then it only goes up to 997, 998, and we're missing these 2 numbers that we had before. We're missing 999 and 1,000. So the answer is going to be x minus those 2 numbers, 999 minus 1,000. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions so far? I see lots of I knew it. It's hard because this isn't exactly real time. There's a little bit of a delay, so if my responses to your comments are a little bit delayed, that's why I'm still figuring out this whole live thing. It's kind of crazy. So anyways, let's move on to number 4. Let's keep the pace going. Number 4 says, let's go and flip to that screen so we can read it. Oh, scroll down a little bit. If the length of the base, one of these ones. Now, if you've been in my ISEE class, you know that I love these problems. I've been giving you these since day 1. Let's see who can solve it. So if the length of the base of a triangle is increased by 10% and the height is decreased by 20%, what is the percent decrease in the area of the triangle? So it's asking about the area of a triangle. Now, there should be some formulas that come to mind. I'll write the one that I know down, which is, let's switch to my scratch work. Area of triangle equals base times height over 2. So the key is that we're multiplying the base and the height. But these aren't the original bases and heights. They've been changed a little bit by some percentages. So we see that the base has increased by 10%. What we want to think is what percentage of the original base is it now going to be? Well, the original is just 100% of itself. And if we add 10%, now it's at 110%. But a number like 110% doesn't work well in an algebra problem like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that as 1.1 as the base. We still need to multiply the height, which actually decreased by 20%. Now, if it starts at 100% and decreases by 20%, that math should be pretty simple. Now, I see that some people say never really understood these. This is our chance to get it. So if you have questions or if there's a specific thing I say that is a little bit unclear, excuse me, then I want you to go ahead and ask about it. Other people might be able to help you in the chat as well. So if the height decreases by 20%, the percentage of the original that it is going to be 80%. To rewrite that as a decimal, I see Maglama Artisan Gamers got it. We got 0.8. So I'm going to switch back to my work here. We've got 1.1 of the original and 0.8 of the original. And when we multiply those together, 11 times 8 is what I'm thinking. It's going to be 0.88. Now, we need to go back to the problem and make sure we're answering what it asks. It says, what is the percent decrease in the area? The percent decrease in the area, if it's 88% of the original, is going to be, well, it was 100% to start out with, right? So 100% minus 88% leaves us with, I think some people have got it in the answers right now, it's going to be 12%. And that's our final answer. Look at these fancy colors that you guys probably can't really see. 12% is going to be our answer. I also wanted to show off this pen for a second. This is a legit pen. All the different colors, erasable. I can like erase stuff apparently. Doesn't work that well. But anyways, moving on. We're on to number 5. Who's gotten all of them right so far? If you've gotten every single problem right so far, if you're 4 for 4, brag about it in the comments by all means. And if you missed a couple, don't worry about it. You still got time to make up some ground. So moving on to number 5, I'm flipping the page here. Going back to this doc. Man, look at me switching my screens. I'm like a tech genius right now, I swear. If m is a positive integer and x plus 7 squared equals x squared plus mx plus 49, what is the value of m? So what we want to do is do some kind of simplification here. And you know what? The first thing I want to do always in these problems is to look at the answer choices. And some of you might recognize this as what's called a perfect square trinomial. That sounds like more complicated than it is, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to FOIL this out and show you guys how this works. Now, remember also, I just want to remind you guys that you can always plug in values. You can say, all right, let's just have x be 1 and see what happens. Oh, I see some messages being held for review from Alpha Entertainment. Ooh, I'm going to show. Darn. Uh-oh, that's almost explicit. Uh-oh. Spamming a little bit. Lots of these messages are being moderated. Uh-oh. Lots of keyboard smashing right now. Well played, Josh. It's B. That's the answer. All right. Brag, brag, brag. J-Dog's got it. All right, so be bragging to the bank on this one. Knows his stuff. Okay, so let's go up. And so what we want to do is simplify this. I'm going to go to my scratchbook over here. So number 5. Can you guys see this all right? Maybe now you can. Move these cups a little closer. High-tech arrangement I got right here. So number 5, we're going to go x plus 7 squared. We want to simplify that. So the way you simplify this is foiling it. I'm going to write this as x plus 7 times x plus 7. And some of you guys remember that FOIL means first, outside, inside, and last is last. So what we do then is we get the first two terms, x and x, so we get x squared. Then we're going to add the outside terms, which are going to be 7 and x multiplied together. And then we're going to do the inside terms, 7 and x again. And finally, the last terms, which are 7 and 7, which is going to leave us with 49. Now it asks us what that middle term is so that we can solve x, so that we can solve for, m. What we're going to do is 7 and 7 make 14, so it's x squared plus 14x plus 49. That's our answer. M equals 14. And that is clearly answer choice B. Good job, everyone that said B. Who got dibs on that? Third Remiliano, way to get dibs. Way to claim the dibs. Nice job. You got it right. Everyone else didn't get dibs. Doesn't count quite as much. So let's go on to the next one, number 6. Doing well so far, guys. All right, number 6. Joshua. Oh, Joshua. I think there might be a Joshua in here, if I'm not mistaken, was trying to calculate the mean or the average of his test scores. He didn't know what he had scored on each of the first 4 tests, but he knew that the sum of his scores was 370. If Josh scored a 85 on his 5th test, then what was the mean of all 5 scores? Yeah, it sucked to be moderated. It's not easy. That is not the right equation, by the way, Alpha Entertainment. It actually should be 2AB in the middle. 2AB. I'll copy that and put in the correct one right now. Because when you multiply them together, those 2 middle terms will be the same, just like the 7x and 7x. And so that's why we multiply it by 2. All right, so moving on, we've got number 6. We want to figure out what Joshua's average test grade is. Let's hope it's not too low. So he got an 85 on his 5th tests, and before that, he had gotten 370 as the sum of his first 4 tests. So what we want to do is use our average formula. And average is going to be the sum of everything divided by the number of things. So what we're going to do to start out, let's switch over to my workspace here. We've got 370 is his first 4 tests. That's the first 4. And then we've got his last test, which is an 85. This is the 5th. And we have how many tests? 5. So we're going to divide that by 5. Now this is just simple math. 370 plus 85 is going to give us 455. Divide by 5, and we get 91, which is answer choice. Wonder if that drum roll went through the microphone. C. And you guys know the name of the channel. Say it with me. Always pick C, except for 3/4 of the time when it's not C. So the answer is C. Moving on to number 7. We've got a problem with a rectangle. It's got an area of 110. The length and width are measured in whole inches. They want to know the least possible perimeter. Least possible. So now that we have to do the least possible, what I want to do is go through all these answer choices and probably start with the least, move up to the most, and see if they are possible for the perimeter. Now, you guys should know area is the size of what's inside. It's in square units. And perimeter is the distance around a whole entire thing. You get that by doubling the width and doubling the length. So for this one, me looking at this, I can just look at 110. I know they have to be whole numbers, whole inches. And Do you guys know any factors of 110? The first thing that comes to mind for me is 11 and 10. So 11 times 10, if we go and have that be the rectangle, let's draw it out. We've got 11, 10. The perimeter of that would be these two, 11 plus 10 plus 11 plus 10. That's 42. So we have one perimeter to work with here, and that's actually answer choice C, I believe. So we have something to work with. Do we have any other, factors of 110 that work out? Let's try 22 and 5. We'll double that 11 and half that 10. So if we do 22 by 5, it's going to be more like this, 22, 5. Let's see if you guys can still see this. That's great. And we're going to add those up. It's going to be 22 plus 22 plus 5 plus 5. And that's going to give us 54. Now that's answer choice D. Now it wants the least possible perimeter, so I think you guys, I see some dibs have been called on this one. The answer choice is C. So in this case, if you always pick C, you'd be right. Moving on to number 8. Let's keep going. Number 8, numero ocho. Okay, we got some graphs. Oh, I remember this problem. You guys might remember this as well. Switch to this so you can see it. We have a cool potato placed in a hot oven to cook for 1 hour. We want to know which graph best represents what happens to the temperature of the potato as it cooks during the hour. So it starts off cool. That's the first thing I want to consider. And a cool potato, probably, if I had to guess, less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, that's like a warm to hot potato, I'd say. So we want one that starts pretty low. That immediately eliminates answer choices B and answer choices C because those start above 300 degrees. That is not a cool potato. So, we don't have any in the fridge. People remember this one. So yeah, I made a video on this before. I think it's since been deleted, but let's go and do it one more time just to make sure that you guys understand it. So now we're between A and D to figure out which graph shows the temperature of this potato. Now, we want to see which numbers they give us in this problem. They see that we get 350 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature, and that's the temperature of the oven. Now I'm going to pick A because A levels out at 350 degrees, whereas D, that potato keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter. That potato is going to get way too hot. You can only get as hot as the oven itself. It's not going to get above 350 degrees. So the best choice is A. This is all about just reading graphs and being able to interpret what it shows. So hopefully you got that one right. Why is it deleted? That's because the cringe was too extreme for me to handle. I deleted all those old videos. They're test trials. I'm doing the live stream thing now where the cringe gets amplified because it's live and because I've never done this before and because there might be some censorship involved. So I'm bearing it all right now. Let's go on to number 9. Number 9 has two similar triangles, QRS and TUV. Very alphabetical, this problem. And so it says that these triangles are similar. We want to know the length of side TV. So first of all, we need to know, what does similar triangles mean? If anyone knows what similar triangles means, now's the time to show it. Ooh, we got 8 watching right now, baby. We had someone join. I don't know who it is, but it's getting more lit by the minute. So let's go and see answer choices right here. We have some X's in here. Now, I don't think that X is going to be in the answer, but let's see. So QRS and TUV are similar triangles. That means they have the same proportions. That means that if we go and set up this equation that I'm going to show you on my paper right here, should be able to work out. So we have that x over 3/2 x. Actually, I'll go bigger over smaller. I'm going to compare these similar sides, in this case TU and QR. We have 3/2 x over x equals, it's going to be the same as the ratio of TV, which is what we want to solve, over QS, which is 4. Now, before I cross multiply, I want to go and simplify this a little bit by crossing off anything that we can. Now, TV and 4 have nothing in common, but x can be canceled out. And so now we just have 3 over 2 equals TV over 4. At this point, we can just go and cross multiply and pretty simply find that TV, or actually that'd be 12 equals 2 TV, divide by 2, divide by 2, and we get that TV equals 6. So the answer is 6 centimeters. The answer choice is B. B, I say. I'm getting lots of B's in the answers. I love this. So we got some caps lock slammers. Well, we'll see who gets first on the next one. The competition continues. I love the activity in the chat, by the way. This is unreal. All right, going up next. All right, just had to get a quick message across. And now Let's go into the next one. We've got number 10. What is the value of this expression with a bunch of parentheses, a bunch of exponents, and let me show you it so you can read what I'm seeing. Bunch of parentheses, bunch of exponents, bunch of craziness. How do we find the value of it? The way that we find the value of it, I think I just mislabeled number 9. That should have been number 9 in my paper, by the way. Hope that didn't freak anyone out too much. So number 10 right here, we need to find the value of this expression, do some simplification. Now, the first thing I want to do, there's a long way and a short way for this problem, just like lots of these problems. What I want to do is see if I can cancel anything out before I do all this squared and cubed madness. So I'm going to copy it down, 3, 9, and the first thing that sticks out to me is those numbers outside of the parentheses. I got 3 and 9, and you should know that 3 goes into 9 cleanly. We can simplify that a little bit. So what I'm going to do is cross off this 3. Can you guys see this on my paper? Oh, probably not. Well, now you can. Cross off this 3, cross off this 9, make this a 3, and then we go over here. We have 3 squared plus 3 cubed over 3 times 12. Now, 3 squared plus 3 cubed, I'll let you guys all do that. It's 9 plus 27 over 3 times 12 is 36. And wait a second, this is 36 divided by 36, which just equals 1. So our answer is just 1. B is the correct choice. That's all there is to it. Moving on. Hey, we got some people in the comment section dominating this. Oh, little dibs competition here. Uh-oh. Change your channel name to always pick B. I don't know about that. I think C is if you're going to always pick a letter, you might as well always pick C. Yeah, but B seems to be the popular choice among these test makers. But when it gets to the real test, you know what to do. All right, moving on. We got number 11, another graph that you guys need to read. Let's switch to number 11 here. Oh, yeah, here's my face, by the way. I'm still here. Hi. Going back to this, though. Number 11 says, at one point in the walk, Jane stopped. Okay, Jane's walking. We have a distance from home. We have a time in hours. We want to know how far Jane was from home when she stopped and waited for a friend. Can't you see to the power of C? I don't know if I see what you're saying. So, Jesus, this is getting worse by the minute. We got a long ride ahead of us, guys. We're not barely, not even halfway done with the first section. This is going to get weird in a little bit when I start, getting hungry and thirsty and making up more nonsense. All right, number 11. So at one point in the walk, Jane stopped for several minutes and waited for her friend. How far was Jane from home when she stopped and waited for her friend? Well, if she stopped and waited for her friend, we want to think about how that would look on this graph. So if she stopped, that means her distance from home would also stop moving. It should be flat. And we see there's only one point on this graph where it's flat. And that's if we look at it between 0.5 and 0.75 hours. Excuse me. Now, I love this problem. The reason I love it is because people feel smart at this point. They're like, ooh, I understood everything they're talking about. I know the answer. It's going to be 0.5. That's how far she was. But wait, what does it ask for? How far? How far is going to be a distance. And that distance, if we look on the y-axis, is 0.25. Some people in the comment section got it right. Very nice. So the answer is going to be A, 0.25 miles. Not 0.5 or a little bit less than 0.75, which is the time, but the distance. All right, moving on. We got number 12. Mrs. Garrett has a big table full of values. Let's see if we know what's going to. Oh, okay. I love this one. All right. So she's adding 6 points to each of her students' test scores. Thank you, Miss Garrett. That's very kind of you to improve all of our grades. But if the average was a 75, looks like everyone needed it. And the range was a 64. That means someone got a very, very low score. Anyways, getting distracted. Don't get distracted on the test. We want to figure out which of these statistical measures changes the least when she adds 6 points to everyone. So going through them, the mean, if everyone goes up 6, the average or the mean should go up 6 as well. The median, same thing. You cross off all those numbers, and that number in the middle, instead of being 80, will be 86. Now, for the mode, that's going to be the most common number. It looks like 80 was the most common, but 80 won't be the most common anymore because it'll be 6 higher. It'll now be 86. So far, all 3 of these have changed by 6 points to go with the 6-point boost. The range, however, the maximum and the minimum's difference is not going to change at all. It'll still be 64 because this was the range before. If we move it 6 forward, that distance is the exact same. I'm not sure if that visualization with my hands helped at all, but you should be able to see that the range is the one that does not change. Go Power Rangers. What? Okay, this chat's getting a little bit out of hand, but we're going to keep going with it. Not quite sure what's going on, but let's go down to Jim and Maud. Maud, that's a great name, Maud. Shouts out to anyone named Maud out here if you're watching. So who has a greater probability of receiving a point? We have some conditions here. It looks like Jim gets a point if the sum of two dice or two cubes is 6. Cubes, dice, same thing, dice. So Maud gets a point if her sum is either 6 or 4. Is this problem for real? Maud has a greater chance. Maud definitely has a greater chance. She gets all the 6s that Jim gets, plus she gets 4s. So it should be pretty simple that it's Maud. 13 is B. All right. Now, if let's say that it were 6 or 1 or 6 or 13, 1 and 13 aren't possible values you can get from two cubes. So then they'd be the same. But since Maud has the exact same as Jim, as well as the other possibility that it's 4, you always pick, say it with me, B. You always pick B. So going on to the next one. Let's keep on moving. Ooh, they really like these graphs, and this one's kind of hard. I actually watched, if you look in the linked in like suggested videos, there might be one of this weird Fox guy, Picosity, with like 19 views that explains this exact problem. I saw it earlier. So this is where the real homies chill, though. This is that. Don't go to that Picosity nonsense. You want the 3-hour live stream instead. So if you're still with me, let's go and look at this problem. A scientist collects data. We see that the mean and median are both 7, and that they're symmetric about this value. So he starts to create this bar graph, but does not finish the graph. Oh man, there's a lot going on in this problem. Why isn't Julian spamming? J-Dog, where you at? We want that spamming. Not sure right now. Remiliano is definitely coming in clutch right now. People got stuff to do. Tell me about it. I got to do number 14 right now. So for number 14, we want to make this graph look symmetrical. So I'm going to make a beautiful sketch on my little scratch paper right here. We're going to go number 14. Let's get this all squared away. 14. So for 14, put this closer so you guys can see it. We have this graph. I'm going to go and draw this graph. And we have 7, 6. Beautiful, beautiful work, I know. 5, and then we have 2 more over here. Okay, we need this to be symmetrical. So what we need to do is fill in some values. What we need to do is fill in 8 and 9, and they're going to look identical to 6 and 5. So I'm going to get a different color here. Let's make these red and fill these in here. That's looking a little bit more symmetrical. Now, if you wanted to be complete, we would add these little short ones on this side as well. Okay, that is a good-looking graph. Look at that. It's a work of art. And so what we want to do is know how many values are above 7. So that number of values above 7, it's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11. So 8 has the same as 6, which is going to be 7. So we have 7 plus, and immediately I'm eliminating answer choice A. We have 7 plus, in the 5, there are 4 of them, so that means 9 also has 4. 4 plus, then we have 2 and 1. So 7 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, that's going to be 11, 13, 14. Answer is D. Always pick D. You guys got it. Spam, spam, spam. Oh, we have some actual spam. Let's see what Alpha Entertainment said. Ramiano. I've been saying Remiliano like a gringo for so long. It's Ramiano. Thank you. Okay. Excuse me for being an idiot. Happens sometimes. So number 15. What is the maximum value for Y? Let's check this one out. Let's move it from my scratch paper, that beautiful diagram. And go to number 15. We want the maximum value for Y if Y equals 2x squared plus 1 in this range from -2 to +1. So we want to figure out what that maximum value is. What I'm going to do is plug in all these numbers. Just plug in and see what happens. So first, let's plug in -2. Start at the bottom. So if we plug in -2, it's going to be 2 times 2, -2 squared plus 1. Do that quick math. 2 times -2 squared. -2 squared is +4. 2 times 4 is 8. Plus 1 equals 9. So this is 9 right here. And immediately I'm getting rid of A and B. We know that Y can possibly be 9. Now, I'll tell you just by looking at this that when we square this x value, or we get to this 2x squared, -2 squared is going to give us a bigger answer than anything else here. If we plug in -1, then squared is just 1. Same thing for 0 will just be 0, and 1 will just be 1. So I'll tell you right now that the answer choice is C. That's the correct answer. You can't get 17, and 9 is the biggest it can possibly be in this function within this range. Moving on to the next one. Let's go switch back to the test. We got number 16. If f of x equals root x and g of x equals x squared, which inequality is true? Oh boy, this one is a lot to think about. So first of all, you need to know how to plug in numbers to functions. It looks like we're replacing the x with either 0.9 or 1.1. And now what I want you guys to think about is what happens when if you look at 0.9 and 1.1, they're very close to 1. 0.9 is a little bit less. 1.1 is a little bit more. And so what we want to do is what happens when you square root a number bigger than 1, and what happens when you square a number bigger than 1. I'll write out these rules so that you guys can see them because they are kind of set rules with numbers that are worth understanding. So 16, if you square a number greater than 1, is it going to get bigger or smaller? Well, let's try 2. Does 2 get bigger or smaller? It gets bigger. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, if you square a number less than 1, that is it looks like, let's get this bigger, bigger. If you square a number less than 1, then it's going to get smaller. Let's square 1/2. 1/2 squared is 1/4. So 0.9 squared is going to be smaller than 0.9. So it gets smaller. My handwriting is atrocious. Forgive me. I'll tell you right now that for square roots, because I don't want to spend too much time on this, it's the absolute opposite. Think about the square root of 4. It goes to 2. If it's bigger than 1, then the square root gets smaller. So with all that knowledge in mind, I know this is a lot to think through. Let's go and look at these answer choices. So the smallest of all of these is going to be, I believe, it's going to be 0.9 squared. 0.9 squared. So that's going to be g of 0.9. So we're between B and D. Now, I want to figure out what's the next smallest. I believe that's going to be, well, f of 1.1, the square root of 1.1 is going to be just a little bit over 1, like 1.03 something. So it's going to be a little bit more than 1. On the other hand, f of 0.9 is going to be the square root of 0.9. That's going to be a little bit less than 1. So the answer is B. I confused. Yeah, this one is a little bit confusing. So we want to just think about how these numbers are in relation to 1. I'll go through it one more time. So g of 0.9 is going to be 0.9 squared. That's going to be less than 1. F of 0.9 is going to be the square root of 0.9. That's also going to be less than 1. But g of 0.9 is 0.9 times 0.9. And that's going to be 0.81. And the square root of 0.9 is actually going to get slightly bigger. It's going to be like 0.95 or something like that. So therefore, g has to be less than f when you're talking about 0.1. Similarly, g of 1.1 is going to be the biggest, which is true in all these answer choices because 1.1 squared has to be the biggest. Oh gosh, someone is making always pick B. All right, this means war. It just got serious. See, people are a little confused. That's fine. It's fine to be confused on one like this. This is the kind of problem that I'm fine with you guys skipping. Just make sure that you answer the ones you know how to answer. We're getting into the hard quantitative reasoning problems. So I'm going to move to number 17 now. We have two people, John and Aaron. They're both jogging in the same path, each at a constant speed. Aaron at a faster speed than John. When Aaron started jogging, John had jogged 500 meters. Which one piece of additional information in meters per minute would be needed to determine how long, in minutes, Aaron had been jogging when she caught up with John? Now, if you understood that, oh gosh, oh gosh. Okay, so what we want to do here is we need to figure out what do we need to figure out how long Aaron had been jogging when she caught up with John. So in order to know how long it takes Aaron to catch up to John, remember, Aaron goes faster than John. John gets a head start. So what we need to know is actually the difference in their speeds. That's going to tell us how much Aaron catches up on John each time. Just knowing one of their speeds isn't enough because then we don't know how long it's going to take them to catch up. So we need the difference between their speeds. That's how it is in all these kind of problems where you have someone ahead and someone trying to catch up. All right. So my hand motions are really helpful, I'm sure. Let me know if that one makes sense. If you guys have questions on it, we can go back to it, but the answer is D. Now we move on to the next one. Oh my, we got some visual stuff right here. We have a cube. We want to know which figure is a possible net for the cube. So I'm looking for some patterns. This is like an IQ test problem. It's not even math. It's about weird visual spatial reasoning. So what I see is that we have a circle, and we have on two sides next to it a triangle with the flat face on the circle's edge, and we have one with the pointy part of the triangle on the circle's edge. Now let's look at all these diagrams. Now, if I look at C, I'm going to start with C because I always pick C, you know. I look at C, I see that the circle has only two things on its edge, and they're both squares. That's an issue. So it cannot be C because it has to have a triangle next to the circle. Am I reasoning that right? Maybe not. But anyways, let's look at the next one. We go to D. Now D, when we make that cube, the circle is going to be next to triangles that are facing the same direction. I don't think we're going to get the pointy sides on these. So right now it's between A and B. I would pick A because it has these alternating triangles that make it so that one is pointing in towards the circle. Then when we fold that in, the other triangle is going to have the flat face on the circle. Oh, we got some new subscriptions, not for me, but for other people. All right, let's keep moving on. This cube one is, you know, I feel like I might be losing you on some of these weird ones. Quantitative comparisons. All right, this is the best section right here. Ricardo. What is this one? I won't subscribe to either. Wow, the hate. Oh, hi, Abby. I was like, wait a second, it's Ricardo. Yeah, so always pick B. This is a mistake. This was a terrible mistake. All right, always pick B. I see how it is. Wow. Okay, no words right now. Let's just keep moving on. So I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. Let's look at these two columns. So we have column A and column B. Let's go to my little side work right here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So right here, how's that looking? Oh yeah, that's beautiful. So what we want to do in this problem is simply simplify. So we go 5, this is number 19, 5 plus 2 times 4 plus 3. Hopefully you guys know your order of operations. Oh, people are subscribing to Always Pick B. Wow, Always Pick C just became, and there's Always Pick A also. I'm shook to my core right now. I don't know if I can continue right now. The cringe is overwhelming me. So, just reported Always Pick B for impersonation. Let's go. It's like Rice Gum Part 2 right now up in this. Report that. That's not Jake Paul. So, I don't know if anyone gets that reference, but let's keep going. Too much YouTube drama. So, let's always pick. How do you guys change your name so quickly? This has gotten out of hand. Oh, God. All right. Hopefully you guys know how to do order of operations. I'm going to switch back to my work right here where you can see 5 plus 2 times 4 plus 3. It's going to be 7. This is going to be 14. 5 plus 14 is 19. The answer choice is very clearly C because the two quantities are equal. Make sure you know how these quantitative comparisons work. You pick A if A is bigger. You pick B if B is bigger. You pick C if they're equal for sure. And D if either one of them could be depending on some variables or some other stuff. So many always picks in here. Okay, so let's keep going. We got number 20 now. The area of rectangle Q, the area perimeter of rectangle R. All right, let's check this one out. So you can see these two rectangles, and they say that the area of Q is 18. The perimeter of R is 30. Now, just on a whim, I'm going to say that you can't tell which is bigger, X or Y. But we can probably solve for X and Y, actually. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to switch to my work right now so you can see what I'm doing. Work. All right, so now what we're going to do is say, we know that Q has an area of 18. So I'm going to say that 2x times x, base times height, equals 18. 2x squared equals 18. And divide by 2, x squared equals 9, so x equals 3. So we know that x equals 3. Let's figure out what y is. So rectangle R has a, can you guys see that work? Was that just all for nothing? There it is. Okay, so now let's go to y. We have 2y plus 2y plus y equals 30. Now I just set up a perimeter right there. 2y plus y is 3y. We have 6y equals 30. Let's see if my pen works. So y has to equal 5, divided by 6. Therefore, column B is greater. Y is greater than x. Oh my gosh. All right. So I don't know if anyone's still paying attention to me or they're just focusing on the fact that there's a lot of new always pick insert multiple choice letter out here. Always pick E should be me. My name's Ernest, but that one isn't taken apparently. But anyways, I thought you always picked yeah. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay. All right, let's bring it back right now. Who knows the answer to number 21? So number 21, we have this little complicated looking thing. I'm not sure if you guys ever learned how to factor perfect cubes, but this is basically it. When we see something like x cubed minus y cubed, it factors to x minus y in parentheses times x squared plus xy plus y squared. This is just a fact. So the answer would be C. These are always equal. If you didn't know that, this one's kind of a mess. So kind of just educated guess that these have to be equal. You could also plug in numbers, let x equal 1, let y equal 0, and it becomes 1 times 1 plus 0 plus 0. So 1 equals 1 minus 0, 1, they're equal. Try a couple other numbers if you're not sure. They're going to end up being the same. Now, oh my gosh, I don't even know who people are now. Lost a viewer. We were living on top of the world at 8, now we only got 7. Can live with it, but sad that whoever it was had to leave. Let's keep going though. So we have a parking meter filled with $4.50 in dimes and quarters. It contains twice as many dimes as quarters. I'm on number 22 right now, in case you couldn't tell. And we want to know about the total value of the quarters versus $3, which is more. So in this parking meter, well, what I'm going to actually do, we could set up some algebra for this. 0.25 Q plus 10.10 D equals 4.5, and do some kind of nonsense like that. That seems like a little bit of complications. I mean, you guys should be able to do that, but what I'm going to do for this problem is just assume that we have the number of quarters that gives us $3. Now, $3 divided into 25-cent increments is going to be 12. So if we had 12 quarters, we need to see how that would work out in this problem. If we had 12 quarters, then we would have 24 dimes. So 12 quarters would be $3. 24 dimes would be $2.40. I'll go show you my work for this right now. So this is number 22. $3. Let's see how this is going here. That's much better. Got a little twist there. Okay, $3 gives you 12 quarters. 24 dimes. That's going to be $5.40, which is too high. That's higher than what we have. So that means that $3 has to be greater than the worth in quarters of this collection of change that we have. This already got all at hand. Not sure what that means. Not sure what that means at all. Yo, always pick E. Oh my gosh. So much for feeling special. All right, sucks being C. So let's keep going. The answer to this one is A because, the answer to this one is B because $3 is greater than however much it was here. If you want me to explain that more, I can, but I think people are more focused on making fake YouTube accounts right now. What's it going to be now? That is a good question. So line J is the graph of y equals 3x plus 4. Line J is parallel to line K. We want to know the slope of line K versus -3. So a couple key facts that you need to know. Cringe time. Oh my gosh. B, D, and E. Okay, well, cringe time it's not cringe time yet. We got to finish this section. Then you're going to send me some cringe memes, some cringe videos so that I can react to them and hopefully not cringe too hard. This is like one of those terrible clickbait YouTube videos. Can you not laugh? Can you not cringe? But let's go and finish this ISEE. So, we only got 5 watching now. Remember, this is not boring. Don't forget that fact. So, on this problem right here, we have the slope of line K. We have -3. We want to say which is bigger. Now, if lines are parallel, that means that they have the same slope. So that means that line J and line K both have a slope of 3. Remember, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, so the slope is 3. Therefore, A is bigger because 3 is bigger than -3. That's always it. Always pick A, has the right answer. Oh gosh, okay. Whoever has okay. All right, my windows are all over the place. Let's keep going. We're on number 24 now. We're making some progress. The perimeter of a rectangle is 50 inches. We're getting close to an hour. I want to pick up the speed a little bit so I don't spend my whole entire night doing this. But not that I don't love you guys and your cringe fake YouTube accounts that are ruining my life, but just want to get through this. So we have number 24. The perimeter of a rectangle is 50 inches. You guys can see this too. The perimeter of a rectangle is 50 inches. We want to know the area of the rectangle, or 144 inches squared. Okay. So what I'm going to do is think, could this rectangle have an area that's less than 144? Yes, definitely. And it's good to know that to minimize or make as small as possible the area of a rectangle, make it really wide and thin. So I'm going to make this 50 by 1, if that makes sense to you guys. 50 by 1. Oh, that's the perimeter. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. The perimeter is 50. Let's make it all equal. 50 divided by 4. This is going to be, let me switch to my work right here. 50 divided by 4 equals 12.5. So each side is 12.5. We have the square right here. And you should know that 12.5 squared, which is the area, is going to be bigger than 144. And that's because 144 is just 12 squared. We have an extra 0.5 here. So let's do another version of it. Let's say that to make the perimeter of 50, we had 2 sides that were 20. And we had 2 sides that were 5. 20 times 5 equals 100. That's going to be less. So we have one example of an area that's greater than column B and one example that's less. Therefore, we have to pick always D. All right. I love the squabbling going on, the inter-sibling squabbling in the comments right now. It's really entertaining. All right, so moving on. We've got number 25 here. We have a figure not drawn to scale. I'm going to switch to this so you guys can see it. This figure is not drawn to scale. We want to know what's bigger, the area of the shaded region or this equation thing that they give us. So the area of the shaded region, let's figure out what that area of the shaded region is going to be. So the area of the shaded region, it's going to be the big shaded square minus the small square that's cut out. So what that ends up being, I'm going to write this down, 25. You guys can see my work here. 25, we have x squared minus y squared is the area of the shaded region. Now, when we're comparing that to x squared minus xy minus y squared, I believe that's what the other one is, it should be clear that the area of the shaded region, this one, is bigger. So the answer is A. Moving on, always pick A. All right. I wish I could like comments. Some of these comments are funny. I want to like them. Oh, all I can do is report, remove, put user in timeout, block, or add a moderator. Ooh, I don't know if I want to add a moderator. I don't trust anyone here enough. But let's keep going. We got 5 people watching. Well, I got 5 people watching. I got an audience. Let's keep moving here. So on to the next one. We have the product of 3 consecutive integers. Let's make sure you can see what I'm seeing. 3 consecutive integers have a product of 210. We want to know about the greatest of the 3 consecutive integers versus 10. So again, I want to kind of assume, let's just plug in 10 and assume that 10 is the greatest of the 3 consecutive integers. Then see what happens. So I'm going to flip to my work right now. Let's say 10 is the greatest of these. So then there'd be 8 times 9 times 10. And it tells us that the product of these 3 consecutive integers is going to be 210. So if 10 is the greatest of them, and that's going to equal 720. 8 times 9 is 72. Add a 0, and we get 720. Then that's going to be bigger than this. So 10 is bigger than the greatest of the 3 consecutive integers. Therefore, the answer is B. And it might be kind of confusing doing that last reasoning that I just did. Think through it a little bit. I'll say it one more time. Since 10 is bigger than the greatest of the 3 consecutive integers, see, I assumed that 10 was the greatest, but then it's going to be bigger than 210. It's going to be 720 instead. Therefore, that means that B has to be greater. That means that the greatest of these integers is probably 8 or 9 or something lower than 10. Moving on to the next one, we have 27. Let's check it out. 27, 25, n minus 1, 25 parentheses n minus 1, which is greater. So it should be pretty clear to you guys, hopefully. Well, actually, I'm going to go and simplify this. Let's do some algebra. Algebra will prove everything that we need to know. 27. All right. I'm going to bring it to the audience now. Who knows the answer to 27? All right, for 27, after the American Civil War, I prefer always pick A Civil War. That's A. We're hearing lots of A's for 27. Actually, that's correct because 27 n minus 1, let's go and show my work here, versus 27 n minus 1. I should distribute this. So it becomes 27n minus 27. And subtracting 1 will always give you a bigger number than if you subtract 27. So it has to be A. Good job. Everyone's got that right. Always pick A. Huzzah. Let's go on to the next one. 28. 28. Let's check it out. So 28 says that the perimeter of square A versus the perimeter of rectangle B. So we got to compare these perimeters. Now we have some X's and Y's in there. Immediately, X and Y, they're not drawn to scale. I don't know anything about these perimeters. So Y could be 1,000,000 and X could be 0.5 or vice versa. I'm going to immediately just go and say D. So that should make sense. Oh gosh, switch. Okay. Exposed. Third Ramiano, you got exposed. I'm gonna have to, I think, put you on a quick timeout right now, third Ramiano. Wow. Just like that. I timed you out for 300 seconds. Let's go. 5 minutes in timeout. Oh, this is fun. I can put people on timeout. Y'all better watch out now. Okay, so let's keep going through this, though. So we have number 29 now. 28 was D because we can't know for sure. Let's go to 29, though. So 29, we have a 6-sided number cube, numbered 1 to 6, and it's rolled, and the coin is tossed. So we got a cube and a coin that we're doing. We want to know the probability of the coin landing tails up if a number less than 3 is rolled on the cube, versus an odd number being rolled, the probability of the coin landing heads up if an odd number is rolled on the cube. Oh, this is a fun one. This is a fun one. Okay. All right, 29 is good. I want to see in the comments who can get it right. I know the answer, but I want to see how you guys are. I'm going to eat some of these weird dark chocolate snacks. They're going to make me feel sick later. Why are they equal? I want to hear some explanations in the comments. Everyone is correct, by the way. Always pick C. Did not lead you astray on this one. The answer is C. They're always equal. Ooh, Maglama. All right, so always pick C. The answer is C to this one. I'll explain to you why. It's because we're just talking about the probability of the coin landing heads up. It's already given that we've rolled this cube, this dice, and I get die and dice mixed up all the time. Sorry, this die. If there were multiple, then it'd be called dice. But the probability of the coin landing heads up is always going to be 1/2, just as it is tails up. Whoa, how did you tag my name like that? That is awesome. Wow, it's all orange and stuff on my screen. That is cool. All right, I'm getting distracted. Let's keep moving. So going on to, let's see how many more there are. We're almost done with the section. Woo! That means it's almost time for some cringy reactions to your favorite memes and videos. I'm actually very worried about that. That could be very bad for me. We'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is number 30. We have a histogram with some exam scores for students in a math class. We want to know what's bigger, the median or the range. Wow, okay. Well, son of a biscuit. Oh, yeah, let's not go calling people's parents biscuits now. That's not nice. That's not okay in this day and age, to be honest. Let's go and check out number 30. We have the median score versus the range of the scores. So the range is going to be the maximum minus the minimum. And let's make that range as big as possible. It would be 100 minus 51, which is 49. Now, it should be very clear that the median has to be bigger than 49. 49 isn't even a possible exam score based on this graph. So from that, we can see that the median is going to be bigger. Now, sometimes in histograms, you don't know the precise values of numbers. It just gives you these ranges. So oftentimes you would pick something like D because there's not enough information. In this one, though, that's all a trick. The median has to be greater. All right, moving on. We got some median is bigger. Good job, guys. If you want cringy videos, watch Space X Marine's early videos. All right, let's go to number 31. A jar contains 5 candies. We have 2 orange, 3 green, 1 candy selected at random and replaced, then a second candy is selected. We want to know the probability that both are green versus the probability that the first candy selected is green. The key thing is they're replaced. So the probability that both are green, I'll just tell you right now, is lower than the probability that the first one is green. So B is the answer to 31. The reason for that is, think about it. What's more likely? The chance that you flip a coin once and get heads, or get heads twice in a row? When we have 2 different events, we have to multiply those probabilities together. Hey, look, it's my face. I'm big again. We have to multiply those probabilities together. So for this exact problem, we would get the first probability. There's 5 candies, 3 are green, so it'd be 3/5. But to get green twice, it'd be 3/5 times 3/5, or 9/25, which is lower than 0.6, 3/5, the original. All right, we're moving on. Let's go to number 32, last problem of the section. In February, apples were selling for $1.50 a pound. In March, the price of apples was 10% higher than the February price. In April, we got a lot of months here. The price of apples was 10% lower than the March price. So we want to know the price of apples in April versus $1.50. Now, if you guys remember the strategies that I like to talk about for these kind of problems, you'll remember that what we want to do is assume that $1.50 is equal to the price of apples in April. So I'm going to go and make that assumption and show my work here. So this is number 32. And let's get this to gray. Okay, so for 32, let's assume that the price in April is $1.50. Oh, that's $1.50. Okay, now that's April. What that would mean is March would be 1.5 times 0.9. Now, why did I make it 0.9? It's similar to those area percentage problems because we want it to be 90% of the original if it's 10% lower. Then we do this one more time. This is March. Then February would be 1.5 times 0.9 times 0.9 again. So we have these. They tell us that in February they were selling for $1.50 a pound. Now this should be pretty straightforward, I think. If the price of apples in April goes up, it's higher than $1.50. Oh, I don't know who caught my mistake, but I misread this problem. It says that they got higher in February and then lower. They got higher in March and lower. So from February to March, they got higher. Then from March to April, they got lower. So the key is that first we have a 10% increase. I'm going to redo my work for this problem. Okay. What I want to do is start with the fact that they're $1.50 a pound in February. So 150 times, hope no one's confused yet, but 150. Now in March, they were 10% higher. So we multiply that by 1.1. And then in April, they're 10% lower. So we multiply that by 0.9. Now this 1.1 times 0.9 section is the same thing as times 0.99. So they're 99% of the original. So they actually drop in price just slightly. Therefore, it's B. 150 is going to be a little bit bigger than the new price, which is a 1% discount overall. All right, so this one's tricky. Again, yeah, Brian, solve that. That's actually not a hard one to solve. If you guys want to know what 1.5 times 0.99 is, just think what's 1% of 1.5? Well, it'd be not 0.15, but 0.015. We subtract 0.015 from that, and we get 1.485. Cringy, bad record. Oh, gosh. Okay. It is time to watch a video. Let's go and do it right here so that you guys can see what I'm watching. Oh, gosh. This is going to be rough. Cringy, bad recorder music. My heart will go on. Oh, boy. This is going to be cringy, I think. 19 million views. That is impressive. Oh, this is a meme. I think I might have seen this. Just so everyone can see. Let's make this full screen. All right, we're going to go full ear rape mode on this. You guys like that sound effect? That's what happens when my mic picks up the volume too. Maybe I should mute this. This guy is a legend. I'm not even cringing. I just appreciate this guy. This guy is strong. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about this guy. That was a nice little look at the audience right there. This guy is an absolute legend. Oh, you guys probably want to see this main screen. There we go. That is really, really nice. It's beautiful. It's truly, truly beautiful. Let's turn my mic on this one. Maybe that'll work. That's the move. Oh, yeah. You guys hear this ear rape? Maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, and that's all right. I don't know if my heart will go. Anyhow. Oh, my headphones on fire. Mission accomplished. Oh, wow. Look at this. It goes into this screen within the screen. All right. I got one more video. I want to see one more. Is it still raping your... Actually, that's not okay to say, raping your ears. Is it still really disturbing your ears, these noises? Let's see here. It broke the live stream. Did anyone leave? I think we lost one person there. All right. Watch this next. Obi-Wan versus Anakin Guardians. Okay. Jim Fish. Oh, yeah. That's what I was just watching. All right. Let's check out this next one here. So we've got Obi-Wan. Let's go YouTube search. Obi-Wan, Anakin, Guardian style. I feel like this is just maybe a cool video. This isn't going to be cringe. This is like combining two nerdy, awesome things that I like. 329K views. Hopefully that's it. Ear rape time. Ear rape time. Oh. I like this actually. This is chill. This makes the movie significantly better than it actually was. This is not a great movie. All right, I'm a fan. All right, I'm gonna have to block the Guama right now because he just said he likes the prequels. All right, we got rid of the echo. No, I'm not gonna block you. All right, let's keep going. So now everybody go back to the practice test. We're gonna go to the next section right here. My friend just saw me on this live stream, said, sup. Let's go number 1 right here. Just watch cringy videos. We got to watch the cringe. No, I'm not going Jake Paul. I'm not going to Jake Paul unless we get through this next part in a set period of time. All right? Not doing Jake Paul. No way. So there's a certain level of cringe I can tolerate. And Jake Paul or Rice Gum or any of these, you know, hype beasts. Maybe I should be talking about hype beasts. Check me out. I'm sad to admit, but supreme. Hey. All right. Anyways, let's go and check out number 1 right here. Scroll up so you guys can see it. There we go. Let's close this Anakin video. All right. So we've got a new problem right here. Who made a video right now? Who made a video while watching a video? SpaceX Marine, you're kind of a ledge for that. That's kind of cool. All right, so let's go area of the shaded region right here. They tell us that each grid square is 5 centimeters. We want to know the area of the whole shaded region. So this is actually just a little bit of counting. That's really all it is. So we count these squares. We see that there are 3 and 2. We have a 3 by 2, rectangle. That's 6, and then there are 2 more on top. That's 8 total. If each of these grid squares is 5, 8 times 5 is 40 square centimeters. That's the area. So the answer is A for number 1. All right, I'm flipping to a new page right here. What even is this music? Let's see how my audio is coming out right now. Can you hear me okay? Can you guys hear me? Yes, all right. So we're going to number 2. I feel like a noob on this, asking if you guys can hear me. Number 2, we have a jar, and it contains 5 red balls, 6 blue balls, and 8 white balls. So we have 1 ball chosen at random, return to the jar, 2nd ball chosen at random. What is the probability that both will be red? So I just talked about these probability things. Thank you guys for letting me know that you can hear me. That'd be awkward if I were just rambling on and no one was even listening. No one could hear a word. But let's go and try this problem right now. I'm going to switch to my work right here. You know, I don't even need to. I want to look at these denominators. There's either 5 or 19. I'm looking for patterns in the answer choices before I even do anything. Now, are there 5 total possibilities or 19 total possibilities? Well, there's 19 total balls, so there's 19 total possibilities. So it's between B and D. And I'm going to pick D because this shows that we pick this ball twice. We have 5 19ths of getting a red ball. There's 5 red balls out of 19 total balls. And we have to pick it twice. We want both balls to be red, so the answer is D. All right, number 3, value of the numerical expression. Ooh, this is good stuff. Scientific notation. So scientific notation, I'm going to go to my workspace here so you guys can see me solving this one. So scientific notation, we have to go and do a bunch of decimal moving. So I have, this is number 3, 3.2. Can you guys see this all right? Yeah. Times 10 to the 7th, plus 4.1 times 10 to the 5th. So what I want to do is I want to write these without scientific notation. Scientific notation with all these tens and exponents is kind of confusing. But let's go 3.2. I'm going to write a bunch of zeros. And what I'm going to do is hop this decimal point over 7 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I put in some commas, comma, 1, 2, 3, comma, and I got 32 million right there. And I want to add to 32 million this one. Now it's going to have a little bit less, so I'm going to go like right about here, 4.1, and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots that I move it over. And I'll just add these numbers together. So what I do is I get 0 and 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 4, 2, 3. So I got this number right here is our answer. But that's not any of the answer choices. Well, actually, you can see pretty clearly that it's C. But to get this times 10 to the 7th, decimal point's here. And I want to move it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know I'm moving quickly, but this is the same thing as 3.241 times 10 to the 7th. That's our answer. Nice job, guys. Answer choice is C. Now we're going on to number 4, which value is not equal to 2/3. So that means that most of these are equal to 2/3, but one of them is not. So anyone know the answer? I want to hear what you guys think for this one. So we can see pretty clearly that b is 0.6, but it's got this bar above it, meaning it's repeating. That is 2/3. 1 over 1.5, if we double both those numbers, 1 times 2 is 2, 1.5 times 2 is 3, so it's going to be 2/3. And it's the same thing for d. This is an exact ratio of 2 on the top to 3 on the bottom, 2.4 to 3.6, or 24 to 36. So a is the only one that's not exactly equal to 2/3. It's darn close, but that 6 should be repeating infinitely. We can't round to 7 at any point. You guys all got that one right, it looks like, so good job. Let's go on to the next one. Number 5, we have 8.05. Let me move my cursor so you can see this. 8.05 plus 1.95 times t equals t. What is the value of t? Well, they give us some answers. We can always plug those in. Now, one guess is we could just say 0. That stands out to me immediately. 0. And I'm pretty sure that actually is the right answer. But if you want to solve this algebraically, 8.05 plus 1.95 times 0 is just 0, which equals 0. So the answer is D. Spoiler alert. But let's go to my work here, and I'll show you how to solve this algebraically. So we have, this is number 5, 8.05 plus 1.95 times t equals t. So this is going to be 10t. 8.05 plus 1.95 is 10 equals t. Subtract t from both sides. I want to get them all on one side. So 9t equals 0. Divide by 9, divide by 9. T equals 0. That's all there is to it. Pretty easy. Who did a Kevin Hart? What even is a Kevin Hart? I always pick A is back. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh yeah. All right, so making me look like a fool out here, honestly. Well, let's keep going. Number. I should say, making me look like more of a fool. Number 6, which value of x makes this equation true? Oh, what? This is straightforward. X plus 3 over 3 plus x, that's just going to be x plus 3 over x plus 3, which equals 0. Uh-oh. Okay, let's write this one out. I want to hear what you guys think as I'm working on this one. So if x plus 3 over 3 plus x equals 0, that would mean that, well, I'm going to simplify this. It becomes 1 equals 0, right? X plus 3 and 3 plus x, these cancel out. They're the same thing. So 1, let me show you my work so you can see what I'm talking about. 1 does not equal 0, so there's no numbers for x that make this equation true. The answer is D. Now, some people, if you see a fraction equal to 0, you might try to make the numerator 0. Go, oh, x plus 3 has to equal 0 then. But the issue is x, and then you go x equals -3. Subtract 3 from both sides. But the issue is, then the denominator is 0. You can't divide by 0. 0 divided by 0 is a whole undefined messed up number. Who is this Patrick Newman guy? Kind of creepy, kind of weird. Let's maybe block that guy out of here. So, but x cannot equal -3. Foolish fool. Haha. Good job, guys. All right, moving on to the next one. Let's keep our progress going. We are on numero 7. What is the value of this numerical expression? Big square root, some numbers underneath it. This is just simple addition. 25 and 144 are 169. Square root of 169, they don't teach you this in elementary school, but you probably picked up on it at some point. It's going to be 13. So the answer is B. Always pick B. Who is Patrick Newman? Get out of here, Patrick Newman. Putting that user on a timeout. All right, so let's keep going. We're on number 8. People just spamming all over the place. We are on number 8 here. You guys can see it. We got a bar graph. We got some dogs at an obedience trial. They get some scores. We want to know what the median score is. So to do the median score, we have to cross off the high ones, then go into the low ones. He was a person. He was a person. He no longer is a person. Wow, that's tough to call him a former person. So, who is in your high school? He says, "Oh, you guys are going on full detective mode on this right now, aren't you?" So I'm going to keep going. Median score. We're going to cross off the high ones and cross off the low ones one at a time. So I'm going to cross off dog number 9 and dog number 2. First things first. I don't want to draw this out. Don't feel like it right now. Then I'm going to cross off 10 and 3. I'll cross off the next 2 lowest ones, which is 1 and 6. And so we're left just with 7. Or sorry, we're left just with, oh, you know what? So I've crossed off 2. The 4 high ones I see are 2, 3, 7, and 10. cross all those out. The 4 low ones I see are 9, 1, 5, and 6. So we're left with 2 more. We have 4 still, and we have 8 still. So when you're finding the median and you're left with 2 things in the middle, you have to average them. So dog 4 got a score of 180. Dog 8 got a score of 190. The average of those 2 is going to be, you guessed it, C. Always pick it. So it's going to be 185. We're moving down. We have 2 machines used to make the same kind of electronic parts. Machine A makes 2 times the number of defective parts as machine B. There were 6 defective parts made yesterday by both machines. How many did machine B make? He is supposed to be in jail. He is supposed to be in jail. There are a lot of people named Patrick Newman. It's a fact. A lot of them out there. So let's keep going. We got number 9. 2 machines. Different kinds of electronic parts. A makes twice as many as B. So what I want to do is, it's asking us how many B made yesterday. I'm going to assume that you go through each of these answers and just plug in, see if it makes sense. So if machine B made 2 yesterday, machine A makes twice as many. So machine A would have made 4. That makes a total of 6. So you know what? I got lucky on my first try. The answer is A. The first answer that I plugged in was correct. So the answer for number 9 is A. What is the answer for number 6? Let's go after number 6 for a second. I see someone asking that. I know there's going to be a delay from the time they asked that till now. But the answer number 6 was D. There is no way to know because x plus 3 over 3 plus x, that simplifies to 1. That's just the numerator and denominator are the exact same thing. So 1 can never equal 0. So there's no value of x that can make it true. You might think -3, but then you're dividing by 0. That's technically not part of the domain. That's impossible. So the answer is D for number 6. I'm going to keep moving, though. So we're on number 10. We have Lisa, who's taken 3 tests so far. Her scores on these tests were as follows. Her score on the final exam will be counted twice in her mean. One of the lowest scores she can get on her final exam to have a mean score of no less than 93. I'm going to set this up as an algebra problem. So I'm going to go and show you guys my work here. What I want to do is set up an equation for the average. So the average is going to be the sum of the scores. This is number 10. So it's going to be 93 plus 89 plus 95. Lisa's a pretty good student. These are some decent grades. Not huge on that 89, but A's besides that. And we want her mean score, her average score at the end, to be no less than 93. So we know these 3 plus 2 times the final one, I'll call that x, all over the number of things we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be over 5 equals 93. This is the equation we need to solve. I'm going to first multiply both sides by 5, and I get 93 plus 89 is going to be 182, plus 95 is going to be 277. So we have 277 plus 2x equals 93 times 5. Anyone? 450 is 90 times 5 plus 15 is 465. You can write this out. I just like doing it in my head. We subtract 277 from both sides. All right. And 465 minus 277. Oh, I hate doing subtraction this way, but let's give it a try. 5 minus 7, I have to go borrow 1. 8. 5 minus 7, borrow 1. 15. So that's going to be 8. And then this is going to be 1. So it's 188 equals 2x. So we divide both sides by 2, and we get 94. So Lisa needs to get a 94 on her test, which is answer choice B. All right. Moving on to the next one. Number 11. Who's going to take a small break? It's not break time. We're almost done. So number 11, we have Jane recording the number of pets owned by each student in her class. We have this table. We want to know the mode of this data. The mode. So the mode, you guys might know, is the most common number in this data. So it tells us the number of students that own each pet. Now, you might be tempted to pick 5 because you see that there are twice were students that had 5 pets, but this problem is actually laid out kind of interesting. We see that 6 students had 1 pet, 5 students had 0 pets, 5 students had 2 pets. The mode of this data is actually going to be 1. Answer choice B. The reason it's B, I can't really speak properly. The answer is A, because A is 1. And there are 6 students that had 1 pet. That's the most common one. Now, this is a little bit strange. Normally, it'll be like in a graph or something, but you guys shouldn't be tricked by this one. Make sure that you can kind of say it in your mind what they mean by this kind of wording. So going on to number 12, if n and m are prime numbers, we want to know the least common multiple of 8n, 6nm, and 4n squared. Whew, okay, these ones are a little bit tricky, a little bit of a handful. So what I want to do to find the least common multiple, flip to a new page here, show you how Scratch works. All right, so what we want to do for this problem is, let's move this a little bit so you can, does that work? There we go. So what we want to do is look at what we have: 8n, 6nm, and 4n squared. We want to take the least out of all of these things. So we have, I want to split this up into different parts. We have 8, 6, and 4. Then we have n, and m, and n squared. So first things first, I need to find the least common multiple of 8, 6, and 4, the whole numbers that we have here. That's going to be 24, because 6 times 4 is 24, and 8 also goes into 24. So 24 has to be the start of it. And you know what? At this point, I'm already between C and D. It's between those two. Now, if you guys think you know between C and D, oh, phone's leaving. All right, so what we want to do now is go, consider the fact that we have to have n squared in our answer, as well as this m. So that means that it's going to be answer choice D because it has an n squared and an m. It wouldn't be the least common multiple if it didn't have this n squared in it. All right, moving on to the next one. Number 13, we have 3x minus 3. Let me go and flip back to that so you can see the problem. 3x minus 3 equals xy minus y. X does not equal 1. What is the value of y? So to find the value of y, oh boy, let's see here. Oh, this is actually kind of straightforward. All it's going to be is that y equals 3. Because if we plug that in, it becomes x times 3 minus 3, which is the exact same thing as the left side of that equation, 3 times x minus 3. Eyes hurt. Okay, well, don't worry, we're speeding it up. So anyways, number 13 is D, 3. When you plug that in, it should be pretty straightforward. Number 14, we want to know which expression is equivalent to the expression. Well, I'm not going to read that out. What we want to do is combine like terms. Combine like terms. So to combine like terms, number 14, what we're going to do is go and switch screens to the workspace. To combine like terms, I'm going to copy this problem down. This is number 14. I don't like that green color. Let's go. 14, we've got 2x squared, y to the 4th, plus 3x to the 4th, y squared, minus 4x to the 4th, y squared, minus. Whew. This is a lot. All right, so I have two types of terms here. I'm going to underline them in different colors. I have x squared, y to the 4ths. And I have these x to the 4th, y squareds. So what I do is I have 3 minus 4 for this one, and I have 2 minus negative 3 for this one. So we have 5 and negative 1 as the coefficients. Now, with that in mind, the answer is going to be C. Hey, J-Dog's back. Let's go. Darn it, Patrick Newman's back. Trolling. All right, so I want to finish going through this. Guys, stick with me. We're getting to the end of this. Number 15, what value does x squared minus 25 over x plus 2, x minus 3 equals 0? I hope you guys understood number 14, by the way. But if I were to write out the final answer, which I was too lazy to do, it would be, we subtract. We're basically adding these, so it becomes 5x squared y to the 4th. Minus x to the 4th, y squared. 3 minus 4 and 2 minus negative 3. Make sure to distribute that negative. So moving on, number 15, I want to see for what values this equals 0. Okay, so who remembers what I said earlier about how to set fractions equal to 0? The key thing for setting fractions equal to 0, let me first show that problem so you guys know what I'm talking about. For setting fractions equal to 0, we just want that numerator to be equal to 0. So x squared minus 25 has to equal 0. Therefore, when you think what makes x squared minus 25 equal 0, now you might be tempted to say, A, x equals 5 only. And I'll go and show that work quickly. So we have x squared minus 25 equals 0. We add 25 to both sides, and we get x squared equals 25. We square root them both. But here's the thing right here on this step is actually, if you square 5, you'd get 25, but you could also square negative 5 to get 25. So it becomes actually the absolute value of x equals 5, or x equals plus or minus 5. Be 5 or negative 5. So that's the answer for that one. Yeah, we're losing some peeps, but we're going to power through. Number 16, which expression is equivalent to the expression x minus 2, x plus 3? I'm going to switch to this so you can see it. This is just a simple factoring problem. So you could plug in numbers if you'd like, say, let x equal 0, for instance, or let's go x equal 1. That'll be more reliable. And we get 1 minus 2, 1 plus 3. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. So that's going to be negative 4. And we plug this into each of the answers with x equals 1. And I'll just fast forward to the answer, which is actually going to be D. 1 plus 1 minus 6 equals negative 4. I'll show you guys how to FOIL this, though, just for good measure. Let's go and do the work right here. 16, we have x minus 2, x plus 3. Remember, FOIL first, outside, inside, last. X squared, outside plus 3x, inside minus 2x, last minus 6. Then this part becomes plus x squared plus x minus 6. That's our answer. Pick D, actually, in this case. And we move on. So let's keep going. Number 17, we have a graph of a line. They want to know the slope of this line. So this is basically asking, can you count? So the answer is hopefully yes. All you have to do is look at the rise over the run. I'm going to go and show you with my mouse right here. We have this point at 1, 3. We have this point at 2, 1. Now the rise is going to be down 2, negative 2. The run is just 1 over. So the slope is negative 2 over 1. Answer choice B. Moving on to the next one. 1.18 is on a circle with center negative 2, 4. What is the radius of the circle? The radius of the circle is going to be a little bit tricky to find. Let's go and draw this out, actually. What we need to do is find the distance between these. So it helps to know the distance formula. The distance formula tells us that the difference of the x value squared, some messages being held for review. Why is y equals mx plus b a controversial comment, YouTube? Come on. That's the slope-intercept form. That's good stuff. All right. Thank you for posting that, by the way. I always pick A. Maybe we can work on the same team after all. So I'm looking at number 18. Number 18 is right here. Show you my work. We want to find the distance. The distance is the square root of delta x squared plus delta y squared. These delta signs just mean the difference between. So I plug in the values. The difference between the x values is 1 and negative 2. That's going to be 3. And the difference between the y values is going to be 4. 8 minus 4. 3 squared and 4 squared. That's going to be 9 plus 16. So it's square root of 9 plus 16. Square root of 25, which you guys should know equals 5. That's our answer. So the answer is 5 for that one. It's going to be C. Always pick it. I love it when it's C, even though I feel like this has been a very B-heavy test. But regardless, let's go on to the next one, number 19. Number 19, we have Terry planning some survey. And Terry's survey, blah, blah, blah. We want to know which sample of students will give her the most reliable information about the students in her school. So her friends might be biased. Her friends might think one thing or the other about TV. All the people that show up to a football game also might be biased. Maybe people who watch sports don't care about stuff. Same thing for people in the library. So the only one that's not biased, in my opinion, is B, this random sample of all the students in her school. I'm going to just go shouts out to who's here. All right, we're going on to number 20. 20. The measures of 3 of the angles of a quadrilateral are shown in this diagram. We want to find the measure of the 4th angle. So the key thing to know for this one is that the sum of all the angles in a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. With that in mind, we just do a little addition. 110 plus 130 is 240, plus 75 is 315. That leaves us 45 degrees more for this last angle. That's the missing angle in this quadrilateral to make them all add up to 360. Hey, I like the emojis. How do you get the sunglasses emoji in here? That's awesome. All right, moving on to the next one. Number 21, we have a 6-member debate team planning to send 3 of its members to a conference. How many combinations of 3 members are possible from this 6-member team? Oh God, combinations. This is kind of a lot. So I'm gonna write this one out for you guys. Let's go to the scratch pad. So we want to think about how many, there's 3 slots here, okay? So this is number 21, 3 of these slots. What we want to do is think about how many possibilities there are for each slot. Well, when you pick the first person, there are 6 people on the team, so there's 6 possibilities. The second, though, there's only going to be 5 because we've already picked someone who's on the team. Once you pick 2 people, there's only 4 left. So we actually just have to set up this problem and simplify it. 6 times 5 is 30, times 4 is 120. That's our answer. Always pick C. Moving on to the next one. We're killing it right now. Picking up speed. 22. The grid shows 3 vertices of a parallelogram. We want to find what could be the 4th vertex of this parallelogram. So the key thing is with parallelograms, we have to have 2 pairs of opposite sides that are parallel, or in this case, have the same slope. How did you get the alien emoji? All right, you guys have to give me an emoji tutorial on YouTube Live later because this is I'm pretty jealous right now. So coordinates of the 4th vertex of this parallelogram. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the relationship between these. I want the slopes of opposite sides to be the same. We can go and just plug in each of these points if you guys would like. Let's try actually just first -3, 5. If I plug in -3, 5, let's go and put my cursor there so you can see -3, 5 right here. This doesn't look like a parallelogram to me, just on the eyeball test, which isn't the surest thing to do, but not a good sign. If I plug in -2, 0, same kind of thing. These are straight up and down, but these ones are not. They have a little bit of a diagonal there. 0, 1, I put it right here. This is not a parallelogram. That's more like a sort of trapezoid thing. Definitely doesn't work. And finally, 7, 2. I go all over here and up 2. And you know what? This actually works out because if I go over 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1, 2. Over here, I go over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. It's the same. And going back to 7, 2, I can also go down 1 and over 5. Just as right here, I can go down 1 and over 5. So the answer is D. That's the only one that makes it a parallelogram. The other ones, this is actually drawn to scale since it's on a graph. So just visually, you can tell D is the only one that makes a parallelogram. Going on to number 23, which describes all values of x for which 4x minus 7's absolute value is greater than or equal to 9. So there's a couple ways we could do this. We could plug in answers, just plug in like 0. Let's actually do that. Plug in 0. Does 0 work for this problem? Well, 0 minus 7 is -7. Absolute value of that is +7. Is that greater than or equal to 9? No, sir. So 0 does not work. That immediately eliminates B, which says x is less than or equal to 1/2, which includes 0. And it also eliminates D, which also says x is less than or equal to, oh, I apologize, actually. It doesn't eliminate anything else. But this elimination method might be a little bit tricky for you guys. I want to go and show you how to solve this algebraically. So I'm going to go and show my work here, flip my screen over to the scratch pad. And so I have absolute value of 4x minus 7. This is number 23, by the way. Looks like 33, 23. 4x minus 7, make sure those absolute values are clear, is greater than or equal to 9. What I have to do is split this off into 2 possibilities. The possibility that the stuff inside the absolute value is positive and that it's negative. So let's go ahead and do that. So it's 4x minus 7 is greater than or equal to 9. This is just positive. And then I have the negative possibility, negative 4x minus 7 greater than or equal to 9. Let's go ahead and solve this one. I add 7, and then I get 4x is greater than or equal to 16. X is greater than or equal to 4 when I divide both sides by 4. I know I'm moving quickly, but this algebra stuff should be fairly quick for you guys. Go to this side now. I want to first get rid of this negative sign. So I have to flip this inequality sign right here when I divide by -1. So it becomes 4x minus 7 is less than or equal to 9. Now I add 7 still. Oh, it's less than or equal to negative 9. I apologize. I need to make sure I apply that negative. Add 7, and I get 4x is less than or equal to 1/2, negative 1/2. I'm just going ahead and saying the answer. I'm losing it. Sorry. Negative 2. Negative 9 plus 7 is negative 2. And divide both sides by 4, we get x is less than or equal to negative 1/2, as I was saying. That's our answer. As we can see, that is answer choice D. That's correct. We want to move on to the next one now. You know, you didn't actually have to do this final step because as soon as you got x is greater than or equal to 4, you knew that it had to be answer choice D. So on to the next one. Let's go 24. What type of number could not, going back to this, you can see it, what type of number could not result from the differences of two irrational numbers? Well, two irrational numbers being subtracted, let's think. Could we not get an integer? Could we not get a rational? Could we not get a complex or an irrational? So you have to know what all of these things are. So an integer is something like -1, 0, 1, 2. A rational number includes all the integers. So if it's, I'm pretty sure at this point that that it's not rational number, because rational number and integer would both not be correct then. So might be integer, might be irrational number, but probably not. I think that if you did like pi minus square root 2, it would still be really irrational. So the key thing to think about here is, what if we do an irrational number minus itself? That would be like pi minus pi. That gives you 0. And if you have 0, then that's an integer and a rational number. A complex number is never possible, though. If you guys remember, a complex number is a number that has an imaginary part in it, something with I, something with the square root of -1. You're not going to just pull that out of your hat and get it from nowhere. It's not going to come from subtracting two irrational numbers. That I has to come from the square root of a negative number. So if it's not there in the beginning, it's not there ever. C is not a possible result for this problem. C is the correct answer. Moving on to number 25. All right, this is like the home stretch right now. Let's see how many more we got. 25. We got a couple more. Goes up to 30. Oh, wow. 42. Making progress. So the graph shows the number of books read by the students in Mrs. Schill's class. We want to know what the mean number of books read over the summer is. So this is just a problem of adding all this stuff up. What we have to do is go 1 times 5 plus 2 times 4, etc. I'll go and show that work. Why not? Looks like fun. So we got number 25 right here. Go 1 times 5 plus 2 times 4 plus 3 times 2 plus 4 plus 5 times 6 plus, I'm running out of room, I'll squeeze it in here. This is all messy. 6 times 2. So I do that 5 plus 12 plus 8 plus 6 plus 4 plus 30. Add all those up. 12 and 8 are 20. 6 and 4 are 10. So we have 20, 10, 30, 5. That's going to be 65 total. And let's see how many students we have. We had 5, 2, that's 7, 11, 13, 14, and 20. So it's 65 over 20 is the mean, which is going to give us 3 and 5/20ths, which is 3.25. That's the answer. So the best answer choice would be B. In fact, it's the only answer choice that is correct. Good job, SpaceX Marine. We're on it right now. Let's keep moving. So going back to the test, we got number 26, a solution set graphed here. We want to know which solution set, which inequality gives us the solution set. So a couple ways of doing this. If you want, I would suggest doing some more practice right now. And the always pick B thing does not work. I would do a little bit more practice, solve this absolute value inequality. It's good practice, just like I did above for number 23. Another way of doing this, if you'd like, is to look at the difference between these numbers. We go from -7 to +1. That means that the absolute value has to be less than 4, because that whole distance is 8, meaning it goes 4 above and 4 below. That might not fully make sense. You have to do a lot of absolute values before you see that kind of pattern emerge, but just thought I'd point it out, see if anyone was on the same wavelength as I am. Let's go ahead and solve this, though. I'll go and do the practice here. So I don't want to solve each of these individually that badly, though. Oof. I'll tell you right now that the answer is probably, if I had to guess, going to be D. Let's go ahead and guess D first. The reason I said D is because we have that 4 on the right side. And, oh, you know what we should do for this problem? backtrack. Let's plug in stuff and see where that takes us. So we plug in some numbers. Let's go and plug in 0 should work. So is the absolute value of 0 minus 4 less than 3? No. Is the absolute value of 0 plus 4 less than 3? No. Is the absolute value of 0 minus 3 less than 4? Yes. Is the absolute value of 0 plus 3 less than 4? Yes. So we see it's between C and D. Now to figure out which of these, let's plug in -6 and see how that goes. The absolute value of -6 minus 3 is going to be the absolute value of -9, which is +9, which does not work. So C does not work, but D does. -6 plus 3 is -3. Absolute value of that is +3. Answer is D for number 26. Moving on to 27. We toss a coin 3 times, and we want to know the expected number of heads. So to get the expected number, this is a kind of interesting calculation. ICD. So what we do is we multiply the probability by the number of heads. So it's 3 times 1/8 plus 2 times 3/8 plus 1 times 3/8 plus 0 times 1/8. And if I go ahead and do that, I'll show you. I'll also just tell you that it's going to be 3 halves because we have 3 coin flips and it's 1/2 chance of being heads for each of them. Add all those together, we get 3 halves. But let's go ahead and do the work in case you didn't see that reasoning. So 27 here, we're going to go 3 times 1/8 plus 2 times 3/8 plus 1 times 3/8 plus 0 times 1/8. That's going to be the expected number of heads. So it's going to be 3/8 plus 6/8 plus 3/8 plus 0. 3, 6, 3, that's going to be 12/8, which equals 3 halves. You guys could not see any of that work, could you? Well, how about now? So check that out. I did 3 times 1/8, 2 times 3/8, just multiplying each of these by the probability and adding them all together. 3 plus 6 plus 3 gives us 12, which is 3/2. All right, flipping that page, going to the next problem. Let's go to 20. Oh, that was 27. Now we're on 28. This looks like a big unit conversion thing. So it tells us that the number of books, oh, sorry, looking at the wrong thing. It tells us that all these conversions, we want to know if a horse is traveling at 400 meters per minute, how do we find its speed in miles per hour? So we want to go from meters per minute to miles per hour. So, you know what, I'll write this out. This is good practice. Let's go do it. So here's my scratch pad here. We have 400. That's meters over 1 min. And I want to get to miles per hour. So what I'm going to do is first, let's go from meters to miles. So there's 0.305 meters in 1 foot. So I have to go put meters on bottom, foot on top, so that these meters cancel out. There's 1 foot, 0.305. So we can see 305s in the denominator right now. Then we want to go from feet to miles. So miles goes on top. Feet go on bottom. There's 1 mile in 5280 feet. So with that, we can see that we're going to divide by this 5280 as well. And then finally, to get rid of minutes and go to hours, we know that there's going to be minutes on top, hours on bottom, because minutes need to cancel out. And see, we just have miles per hour now. And there's 60 minutes in an hour. So we multiply by 60, divide by those feet and mile conversions, and the answer is going to be A. We start with 400, multiply by 60, divide by that. All right, 28 is A. Let's go on to 29. So my eyes are really sore, but I'll keep on going. That is the definition of grit and perseverance and a good ISEE score coming tomorrow. Your eyes are going to be really sore when you take this test tomorrow. So let's go to number 29. We have the height of a pole, it's 3 feet. The length of the shadow, 5 feet. I have this diagram. At the same time, the shadow of a tree is 20 feet in length. What is the height of the tree? Oh, boy. So this is a similar triangles problem. We know that I'm going to actually set up this ratio right here to show you guys how it looks. So we have this diagram. This is 29. we have this kind of triangle right here. And this is 5, and this is 3. Then we have this tree. I'll draw a nice little tree up here. This is our tree, and it has a shadow that is 20. So we can see that going from 5 to 20, we multiply by 4. So we're going to have to do the same thing to find the height of the tree, 3 times 4. This is how similar triangles work. If you wanted to see this as a ratio, we'd go that 20 over 5 equals x, the height of the tree, over 3. Either way, you solve this and you get that this is 12, right? 60 equals 5x, x equals 12. So that's that problem. The answer is B. Going on to number 30. What is the most reasonable unit to use when measuring the length of a leaf? So this is just asking you if you know units. I'll show you the problem. The length is not going to be measured in grams or kilograms. And a leaf is going to be like this big. I'm assuming centimeters is the best, not meters, which is going to be like this longer meter pole. All right, so the answer is A for number 30. That one actually is not that bad compared to the ones around it. 31, which numerical expression does not represent an integer? Well, we look at all of these. Remember, an integer is like a counting number, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, including negatives. Let's do root 4 minus root 25. That's going to be 2 minus 5, negative 3. That works. B is going to be 2 times 5. That's 10. That works. C is going to be square root of 21, which is not a nice number. That's actually irrational, definitely not an integer. So the answer is C. That is not an integer. And D, just to double check, 4 times 25 is 100. Square root of 100 is 10. Cross that one off. That's an integer. We're all good to go. Let's go. Number 32. Picking up the pace. Home stretch here. Doing great. Thank you guys for listening this long into the thing. I know it's not easy. I told you this wasn't going to be boring. Might have lied a little bit. Maybe you're entertained just by me talking. Probably not. Definitely not. But the comment section would be entertaining at least. So comment if you have questions on any of these problems. Say which number it was, and I'm sure someone will help you out, by the way. Anyways, I'm going to eat one of these little candies right now as we go and look at number 32. We have a circle inscribed inside a square with length 10 centimeters as shown. We want to know the area of the shaded region. So the shaded region is going to be the area of the rectangle minus the area of the circle. I'll tell you right now, the area of the rectangle is 100. I know that because it's 10 by 10. So immediately I'm looking at either answer choice C or answer choice D. The question is, which one of those gives the correct area of the circle? We have the circle's area being either 25 pi or 100 pi. So we want to find the area of the square first, as SpaceX Marine pointed out. So it's 100 minus, the area of the circle, you might remember, is pi times the radius squared. The radius of this is actually only going to be 5, not 10. 10 is the diameter of the circle. Half of that is the radius, which is just 5. So the answer is C. Always pick C. It's going to be just 25 pi. Moving on. IE. 33, the height of the cylinder shown is 2 times its diameter. The formula used to find the volume of the cylinder is that, where r is the radius and h is the height. The diameter of the cylinder is 6 inches. What is its volume in inches? All right, we need the volume of a cylinder right now. They give us a formula, though, which is nice. The issue is we don't know what r is, and I'm not sure that we know what h is either. So they say the diameter of the cylinder is 6 inches. We want to know, oh, well, that actually tells us the height is 2 times its diameter. So the height would be 2 times 6, which is 12. Now I'm going to go and flip to my scratch work right here. So we have number 33 right here. So pi r squared h is what we want to solve. That's the volume of the cylinder. And so we have pi times the radius is going to be half of the diameter. So it's actually going to be 3 inches squared times the height was 12. When I do this math, I get pi times 9 times 12, which is going to be 9 times 12 is 108 pi. That's our answer. Drop the pencil, drop the mic, and let's go on to the next one. So number 34. A box and whisker plot. On the chair I have been on, started. All right, so for this one we have a box and whisker plot. We want to know what the range of the data is. Actually, that's quite easy to find with the box and whisker plot. The way this box and whisker plot goes is this 25 is the minimum, 80 is the maximum, so the range is going to be the difference between those numbers, which is quite simply just 55, 80 minus 25. If it asked for the median, it would be about 50. And then 40 and 65 show the first quartile and the third quartile. Doesn't ask about that, though. This one's pretty straightforward. You guys should get that one right. Let's keep going. We got a bag. It has 4 green marbles, 5 blue marbles, 2 yellow marbles, 4 orange marbles. Oh, boy. We want to know the probability. I'm fast forwarding to the end, so I know what we're looking for. If the marble that Kate removed from the bag was yellow, we want to know the probability that the marble Joanne removed was green. So we're given that Kate removes a yellow marble. So first of all, this is a probability problem, meaning I need to know how many possibilities there are. Well, if we add up all the marbles, we have 4 plus 5 plus 2 plus 4. So I'll do that right now. It's number 35. Make sure you guys can see this. 4 plus 5 plus 2 plus 4. 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 4 is 15. So we have 15 total marbles. Now, we want to know the probability that the marble removed by Joanne was green. Now, notice it doesn't say the probability that both Kate removed this yellow one and Joanne removed this green one. It's just asking about Joanne removing a green one, given that Kate has removed a yellow one. So if Kate removes a yellow one, the probability of getting a green one is going to be still 4 on the top because there are 4 green. But then how many total marbles are there? It's actually only going to be 14 now. So the probability is going to be 4 over 14. The answer choice is A. Those ones that are multiplying are assuming that you have both. People are hungry. Yep, we'll eat dinner soon. We're getting close to dinner time. But right now, let's feast on just a couple more math problems. Number 36, which expression is equivalent to the expression blah, 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 blah? All right, so to do number 36, let me show you 36 because I just didn't even read it. Just kind of said some weird noises. Getting a little hungry, a little delirious, but nothing wrong with that. It's the night before the test. This is when the champs come out to play. So I think I just broke my pen. That'd be unfortunate. Okay, we're good. So what I want to do for a square root of some complex looking thing like this is first flip my page so that you guys can see what I'm doing. And once I flip my page and flip the screen so that you can see my page, what I want to do is, can we see that? We can see that. All right. It's getting a little dark in here too. That's not a good sign. So anyways, what I want to do is go square root of 16x to the 16th. What I want to do is separate that into 2 separate square roots. Square root of 16 times the square root of x to the 16th. Square root of 16, you guys should know, is 4. So we can immediately cross off C and D. We have 4. Now, the square root of x to the 16th, is it x to the 4th or is it x to the 8th? Well, another way of thinking of square roots is that they're to the 1/2 power. Remember, exponents are big on this test. So it's to the 1/2 power. And when we have exponents being raised to higher exponents, we can multiply them. So it becomes 4 times x to the 8th. Remember, you're not square rooting the exponent. You're raising that exponent to the 1/2 power with the square root. It's a tricky distinction. But the answer in this case would be B. Good job. Woo. All right, on to the next one, 37. 5 more. It's kind of sad that we're almost done, but we're getting there. We're moving quickly. Triangle XYZ is shown. Length of XZ is 2. Measure of angle XYZ is 20 degrees. We want to know the value of which expression is equal to the length of side XY. Let me show you this problem so you know what I'm talking about. This is what you guys have all been waiting for. Comment if you're triggered by trigonometry right now, because I'm a little bit triggered at this point in the test to have to see a bunch of sine and tan and all this nonsense. But anyways, we want to know what XY is. XY is the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse. We see this 20-degree angle. We know the side opposite to it is 2. So the sides that we're looking at in this problem are the 2, the opposite side, and the hypotenuse, which we want to solve. That means that we want to use sine in this problem. Since we want to use sine in this problem, we can cross off C and D. We know that those aren't going to be it. So what I want to do is write an equation for what sine of 20 degrees is. So I'm going to flip to my paper so you can see that. And I know that sine of 20 degrees, this is number 37, sorry. Sine of 20 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, because SOHCAHTOA. I don't know if you guys remember SOHCAHTOA still. I see some people triggered. That's all good. That's how it's supposed to be. And so what we want to do, sine of 20 degrees is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's going to be the opposite side is 2 The hypotenuse is going to be what we want to solve, xy. So I'm going to rewrite this now. Sine of 20 degrees equals 2 over xy. We want to solve for this xy, though, right here. So to isolate that variable, it's actually a little bit tricky. You might think divide by 2, but that doesn't really do it. We still have xy in the denominator. What I'm going to do is bring it out. So multiply by xy, multiply by xy. So we have xy times sine 20 equals 2. But we want xy to be alone, so we divide by sine 20. Sine 20, remember, is just this fixed ratio. It's a number, so we can just divide both sides by it. Xy equals 2 over sine 20. Drop the mic, drop the pencil. We got this one right. Let me move this so you can see it, though, at least. So it's 2 over sine 20. You guys should be able to see that that is answer choice A. Now, these trigonometry problems, kind of hard, but if you remember SOHCAHTOA and have good algebra skills with fractions, they should not be that bad. All right, let's move on. We're almost done. We're like got a page and a half to go. Okay, number 38. We want to know which graph represents the solution set to this inequality. 41 is less than or equal to 2x minus 1 is less than or equal to 51. Now, I just want to go ahead and solve this. This looks like something that we can pretty easily go ahead and solve. So let's go and flip to my scratch paper here. And what I want to do for this one is go 41 equal to 2x minus 1. Or equal to 51. Now, this is just like a normal algebra problem. All we want to do is get this x all isolated. So first things, I want to add 1. Remember, we go inverse of order of operations. Notice how I do it to each section here. See, lots of people triggered by trigonometry. Understandable. Let's keep going, though. So 42 is less than or equal to 2x is less than or equal to 52. I've added 1 to each of these sides. Now, all I need to do is divide by 2. And I get 21 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 26. That's our answer right there. So let's go and check which of these shows that, between 21 and 26. It looks to me like the answer is A, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. A. Make it loud, make it clear. All right. So moving on. 39. Holy crap, this is the end of it. Oh, is crap a bad word? No. Content cops, come at me. So 39, 7-leaf plot. We got scores on a math test. We want to know the median score on this test. So this is going to involve a lot of crossing out. So I'm assuming it's either 75 or 78. If I'm short on time at this point, I probably just pick B, to be honest. Maybe C, I don't know. But what we do now, let's go and count. We have 1 in the 10 column, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the 9 column. That's 8. So I can get rid of those 8 for sure. Then I go to the 5s. We have 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 10 in these 5 and 6. I'll take away 2 more. I'm just kind of crossing these off right now. If I do all the crossing off and finish it, I'm pretty darn sure that the answer is going to be 78. At this point, when I cross off all these 6s and I'm already past here, pretty clear that it's going to be in the 7s and that it's going to be on the higher end of it. Who's Killer Dreads for the win? Killer Dreads. I like the Z in your name, bro. That's tight. For the win, though. All right. Now, let's keep going. Remember, this is not boring. This is the fun part that we've been waiting for. We're on number 40 right now. We just said that 39 was C. This seems boring, Fluge. Psych on your life, son. It's going to be awkward that these messages said before I do this. Killer Dreads. We got a new fan in the building here. So anyways, let's go to number 40. We want to find the solution set for this problem. X squared plus 49 equals 0. So let's go ahead and bust out some algebra skills. Remember, just looking at these answers, though, I see lots of i's, lots of imaginary numbers. So what the heck do I do with those is the first question. Are you like a math teacher or something, dude? Nah, bro. All right. So we have this number 40. Going to go ahead and solve it right here. We got this right here. Flipping to the next page. You do this in your free time. I'll ask you the same thing, Killer Dreads. I'm glad that you're here to join us, man. Appreciate it. Much love. So let's go to number 41 right here. Oh, sorry, we're on 40 still. Alpha Entertainment, thank you for all this. The clarification is great in the comment section. Really helpful, really helpful. So let's go to number 40. We have a solution set for this problema. X squared plus 49 equals 0. We subtract 49 from both sides, get that x all alone. And we go x squared equals negative 49. We've got to square root both sides to get rid of that squared. So x, it's actually the absolute value of x. We square root it. I'm having problems with order of operations. Oh, I got you, bro. Please excuse my go. Oh, can't say that. Oh, one of my comments got moderated. Whoops. So thank you for that, Killer Dreads. You probably should tune in earlier in the live stream, or you would have caught some of that. It's actually, let's not call him Killer. That's kind of sketchy. That's a little sketchy just to call someone Killer. That makes me a little bit nervous. But let's keep going. We're on number 40. We want to figure out how to solve this. The question is, what is the square root of negative 49? You're probably taught negative numbers don't have square roots. There's no number that you can multiply by itself to get a negative. So what you have to do is make up imaginary numbers. So what we do here is the square root of 49 is just the 7 part. And then the negative gets this I in there. So this is why we have I in all of our answer choices if we look right here. So now we need to figure out, is it 7i or plus or minus 7i? And you guys should know at this point that it's going to be plus or minus. Look at these guys just repping me right here. Killer. All right, so Killer Dreads on the mic. Killer Dreads, are you a rapper? That's honestly a great rapper name. Why you guys just like, why don't you just share your personal address while you're at it on this site? Come on, yeah. Let's keep it on the math in this comment section. I think I might have to put you on a quick timeout, Killer Dreads. Much love, but we got to finish this practice test. We're getting in a little bit of a, tiffy right here. So we have this problem right here, plus or minus 7i. This is the answer. X equals plus or minus 7i. Getting distracted. We always have this plus or minus when you square root something with the variable squared. Square root of x squared is always going to be plus or minus in the solution. So the answer is D. Going on, number 41, second to last problem. We have, what is the result of this expression? You guys should be excited because this is matrix addition. All that this is simple addition with some fancy looking symbols. All we have to do is look at the number in the top left, 2 and 5, add those together. 2 plus 5 is 7. Now we go for the number in the top right, 3 and 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. Right now we're between A and B. Now bottom left, we have 0 plus 2. That's going to be 2. And at this point, I know the answer is A. All right, time for the last problem, you guys. Let's do it. So last problem, the formula for the surface area of a sphere is that, where r is the radius. Sphere is the surface area of that. What is the radius of the sphere? Okay, so this is just plugging into a formula that they give us. Let's go and see how we do with it. So I'm going to write down this formula. This is the last problem, 42. Surface area equals 4 pi r squared. Let's make sure you can see that. And we have that the surface area is 16 pi equals 4 pi r squared. So you had to substitute it in the value they gave us. Surface area equals 16 pi. Now what I want to do is simplify this. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the pi's, divide both sides by pi, and then divide both sides by 4. And I get that 4 equals r squared. So therefore, r equals plus or minus 2 is what you would get if you did it properly, but this negative doesn't matter because you can't have a negative radius. Therefore, the answer has to be A, 2 centimeters. That's the last problem. Drop your pencil, eat some food, enjoy your lives. We just made it through our first live stream. You guys rock. Oh, I'm going to end it with a little bit of ear rape for y'all. Let's do this right now. All right, ear rape time. Turning all these mics back on. All right, this Back in action here. Ah, the ear rape isn't really working, is it? Well, oh, there we go. All right, lovely. Love you all. Check questions. Someone came back. All right, peace.